this is Amanda from The Fundamental Home, and today I am coming to you with the first of the summer Virtual Homeschool Co-op tags. We're going to have some tags this summer, and this is called the Summer Tag, and I'm going to have the questions in the description box below, so make sure you check those out if you would like to make a video about what you are doing with your homeschool this summer. And we would love it if you would take part in the Virtual Homeschool Co-op. I'm going to link right up here to the video about what we're all doing with this tag, and definitely go to that channel and subscribe to it so you can get great information about homeschooling for your family. So without further ado, I'm going to get started on the questions, and the first one says, do you do any curriculum over the summer? Now, if anyone has been watching any of my videos or any of Trish's videos, I'll link to Just So Trish up here. She is the leader of our Virtual Homeschool Co-op. You would know that I am against doing anything in the summer. I like my summer to be relaxed and free. I think the kids need a break. I think they need time to not have any structure and just run out in the dirt and the woods and play and do what kids do. So generally speaking, I don't do any structured curriculum over the summer. However, we've kind of hit a unique place because my two oldest boys are now graduated. They're well, in college both technically, but Brian will be done in a couple weeks with college altogether for right now. But anyway, so I just have Brianna at home, and Brianna is at the point that she's getting ready to start 8th grade, but she'd like to kind of get a jump on 8th grade because she really wants to get a jump on high school. She'd like to finish as quickly as possible. So we have talked about doing some curriculum this particular summer. She's talking about possibly doing her history and science over the summer, and that way she can get her math and English done a little quicker during the school year, the traditional school year. And then maybe it'll help her meet the time schedule that she has for graduating high school, which she'd definitely like to do it at 16 like her brothers did. So we're working on that. We're trying to make sure that we help her if we can. So we have the option of doing that. I'll talk to you a little more about that later. So we might do some this particular summer. We'll see. By the way, I have some neighbors doing some yard work. If you hear the sawing, it's actually, they're not even close neighbors. They're kind of down the road, but they're doing some serious lawn maintenance. So if you hear it, that's okay, just ignore it. Okay, do you have a set date to start and stop each year, and is it the same every year? We don't. We don't have a set date to start or stop. It seems like every time I set a date to start, that date gets put off or postponed for one reason or another every single year. So in the last few years, I've really just tried to just do it in September. Just don't even try in August, just start it in September. Because we usually end up finishing in April or May anyway, and it's so early. You know, the kids don't like to be done when all of their friends are still out doing stuff. So, so yeah, we don't have a set start date, and usually in order to figure out my stop date, I just take a calendar out and count and make sure we've got at least 180 days. I usually try to schedule maybe 190 just to account for any days we might take off. But our state requires 180 days, so I just try to make sure that we have that in and just knock it out. So that's how we start and stop our school year. It's really just about getting the official dates counted. So, do you have traditions for the end of the school? Nope. We don't do anything. I think that I'm just super laid back about that sort of thing. I don't think it's a need to celebrate in that particular way. I think the celebration is that we're done and we are free. So there's nothing that we really do specifically to make sure that's extra special. Our homeschool group does have an end of year party, which actually, ironically, is today. So we're going to be going roller skating today with our homeschool group, and that's going to be lots of fun. But it's not really, I mean, they do something every year at the end of the year, but it's not really like major tradition sort of thing. You know, it's just something that we do. But those are the things that we do. Do you keep a schedule during the summer, and is it the same during the year? Well, we keep a schedule, but it's more like a household schedule. It's really not related to homeschool. I think for us and our family, homeschool is just kind of, we've been doing it so long, it's really just kind of blended its way into our home, into our structure. And so I don't have to create a formal structure, it's just there. if that makes any sense. So I don't have any specific schedule changes. It's just that the actual sitting down and schooling isn't happening. But my kids are older now, so I don't really do a whole lot hands-on with them school-wise. They do a lot of it independently. So in terms of my schedule and their schedule, it's really not a lot different in the summer, except for we just don't have that structured book time. But I mean, there's other things going on, so it feels like that time is automatically filled. I don't feel like I have to come up with something like this, you know what I mean? So I like I said, we're just kind of laid back about that stuff. Are you going on vacation? We are considering, and don't get excited, friends. We are considering a trip to Washington, D.C. Now, our family is originally from the Washington, D.C. area. So if you are my family and friends in the Washington, D.C. area, do not get your hopes up, because we have not officially decided that that's what we're doing just yet. But we are hopeful that we could possibly take a trip there and enjoy some time with some family and friends while we're up there. So it is a possibility. It is a distinct possibility. It just depends on a few different factors whether or not we can do it. It's kind of hard to schedule trips with both boys working and my husband working, trying to get everybody's schedule coordinated, the boys both in college. It's a challenge, and that's partially why we haven't gone for the last several years on any kind of vacation, because everybody's schedule has been crazy. But we're hopeful that we could do some kind of something this year, possibly. Maybe. But it would be good for Brianna, because she was 4 when we moved, so she doesn't remember the DC area really well. So I'd love to take her to the Smithsonian, maybe the National Zoo, and some other things that would be special for her. So, do you do any organized summer activities? Again, this is a unique year, because this is the first year I don't have a child under 12, and we have always done our library summer reading program, always. And this is the first year that they're all too old for it. So we won't be doing that this year. We occasionally join our local swimming pool. I don't know if we're going to do that this year or not. Haven't really talked about it, decided. But really, like I said, I don't try to do structured activities, because our schedule is so full that I really like taking the summer break and really trying to not schedule anything if I can handle it. So I don't want the kids to get bored. That is the last thing I want. So we do try to hang out with friends and do things to keep busy, but really I want the focus to be us staying home. I know we homeschool, so like everybody who doesn't homeschool doesn't get this. But if you homeschool, you totally get this. People think that we're just home all the time. We're not. We're always out doing stuff. So in the summer, I want to actually stay home. So that's what we do in the summer, if we can. Do you have a summer reading list or reading time? Well, we read, like, I read aloud every night. I still do, even though my kids are old. I make Brianna listen to me. And right now we're doing Little Women. So yeah, we do reading every single night. And, you know, I don't think I need to specify a reading time, because we try to encourage reading in our household, and everybody reads something or other. So, I don't really enforce a reading time, because for us, everybody just naturally reads. I don't need to stand over anyone and say, you're reading now. So when they were little, did I? Not really. The read alouds are really the only thing that I required. And of course, we go to the library pretty regularly. We go once a week. And so because they're always getting books that they're interested in, they usually have something they want to read. So I don't have to enforce it. So that's our summer reading sort of thing. Do you have goals for the summer? To relax. That's my goal for the summer. Can you feel me, moms? High five, moms. Let's relax this summer. I'm serious. I want to just like breathe, not be stressed about anything, and not be driving kids back and forth everywhere. And yeah, can it be the summer of moms? Is that too much to ask? Yes, that's what I want. That's my goal for the summer, to relax. Is it a goal for my kids? No. You know, I on one hand, I'm a super relaxed mom. On the other hand, I'm a super high pressure mom, because I do push my kids to get their work done and to make sure things are handled well, and they all hit college early and they all work. So I feel like that there are times to be focused on work and times to be focused on things that need to be done, and then there are times to be focused on just relaxing, and this is the designated time for relaxation for us. So yeah, I'm gonna take that. That's my goal, to relax, hang out. What's your favorite part of summer? I bet you can't guess that I really like the part where I don't have to do a lot of stuff for the kids specifically. I know that there are a lot of like when the kids were younger, I really felt the pressure that I needed to like figure things out for them. But I really want them to be independent and to make their own decisions. At this point, they need to start branching out, and so I don't feel the need to be their entertainment all day. I feel like they need to make good choices and entertain themselves. Now, that doesn't mean that I leave them alone all the time, because the Bible says children left to themselves bring their mother to shame. So I do not leave them to just be bored and fuss and argue. That doesn't happen. But I do tell them specifically that, you know, this summertime is the time for mom to relax too, and you guys need to give me a break. So we do have these conversations. They know that. So that's my favorite part of summer, is that mom gets a little bit of a break. Just a little. Last question, bedtimes, do they exist? What about letting them sleep in? My friends, you have hit on one of those subjects in our household that's a little bit stressed. Because here's the deal. When the kids were little, I was big on bedtime. I enforced a bedtime. I think a bedtime is good for children. I genuinely feel that way. And my parents always had a bedtime. Now, my husband's family, I don't know what they did when they were younger, but Rick claims that he did not have a bedtime. He claims that as he got older, he just set his own bedtime. And he felt that I was being too strict in enforcing bedtimes. Now, he didn't mind it when they were little, but by the time they got about 8, 9, 10 years old, he started letting that fly. And I kept telling him for years, they need a bedtime. They need a bedtime. And the older they got, the more he would fight against me and say, you know what, they don't. They're old, they're, you know, grown, you don't need a bedtime. Now, when Brian started college and he was working, he's very responsible. I let that go. I said, you know what, it's not a big deal. He's not gonna stay up any later than he needs to. He does not want to be on the computer and doing schoolwork all night. So I let that go. Ricky naturally is an early to bed, early to rise kind of person, so I never had to really nag him about it. Brianna, on the other hand, is my night owl. And so now that she's gotten older, he's really gotten relaxed about her bedtime. And so now it's gotten to the point that, you know, he has to be at work at 5 o'clock in the morning. So he has to go to bed fairly early, and he, being the OCD checker that he is, does not like anyone to be up. He wants to check the whole house before he goes to bed. So he gets stressed when people are staying up late. And he's been a little stressed lately because everybody keeps staying up late. This is not a homeschool related item. This is just me sharing with you because I do that. But he keeps getting stressed because everyone's staying up late, and this is year round. This is not just for the summer. So yeah, he's like, they need to get in bed. I'm like, yes they do. I wish they had had a bedtime years ago. I'm trying to be gracious and not, you know, say I told you so over and over again, but it gets a little harder every time he brings it up. But we're working on that. We're trying to talk to them about being respectful of Dad's schedule, and helping them to understand that getting more sleep is actually a good thing for them and for us. So I think that they are being respectful about it, but it is a work in progress. No one is getting in bed at the time that Rick and I would prefer that they do, but they're not staying up as late as they were. So we're making progress on that. But it's just amusing to me that this question came up in the midst of our discussion on it. So I thought I'd share. Anyway, that is the end of the questions for the Virtual Homeschool Co-op's Summer Homeschool Mom Tag. I'm sure there's a name for it. I can't remember what it is, but I've linked to the video. Make sure if you have a minute that you check out my other homeschool videos. I'll link to the playlist up here. I've got tons of them right now. I feel like there's tons of them. We recently did a video with Ricky talking about his first semester of college after being homeschooled. I did a video with Brianna at the end of her homeschool year. And here at the end of the summer, I'm looking forward to doing a video with Brian after he graduates with his bachelor's degree, talking about the things that he learned from being a homeschooler and how that helped him. That was weird, that was a fly. Anyway, the things that he learned and the things that helped him as a homeschooler going to college. There's lots of bugs out here. So anyway, you guys have a wonderful day. I am going to go do some more of that relaxing that I want to do, and I will talk to you guys next time.